has previously alleged that these charges are politically motivated. Emmanuel Banda, who has been an independent MP since 2021, was previously associated with Lungu, who lost the presidency to Helichima that year. In their statement, the police said the MP's younger brother Nelson was currently on the run. Mr. Kadunde and Mr. Fidi have been charged with under Zimbabwe's Witchcraft Act with possession of charms, professing knowledge of witchcraft and cruelty to wild animals. The pair were found in possession of assorted charms, including a live chameleon, the police added. They told the police they had been promised more than 2 million Zambian kwacha, 58,000 euros and $73,000 for their mission. According to the police statement, the suspects are being held in custody and will appear in court soon, the police said, but did not give an exact date for the hearing. They have not yet commented in public on the allegations. Suspected jihadists killed more than 20 people in a string of attacks on villages in central Mali's insurgency-hit Mopit region on Friday, two local sources said. The unidentified assailants struck during the day and into the evening, ransacking and burning 6 villages in the Badiagera area, the sources said on Saturday, speaking on condition of anonymity. One of the sources said the assailants had come in large numbers on motorcycles and attacked a first village where they killed everyone and destroyed everything. The West African nation is battling armed groups with links to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State, which took root in its arid north following a Tuareg separatist rebellion in 2012. Militants have since spread to other countries in the Sahel region south of the Sahara, seizing territory, killing thousands of people and uprooting millions in the process. Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi has replaced the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces and dozens of other senior military figures in one of the biggest shakeups of its kind in recent years, state television said on Thursday. The presidential order read by the broadcaster did not give a reason for the removal of Armed Forces Chief Christian Tewesewe Songasha, who has been replaced by Lieutenant General Jules Banza Mobilawe. Other replaced individuals, the head of military intelligence and most of Democratic Republic of Congo's commanding officers, including those in charge of security operations in the volatile East, which since 2012 has been further destabilized by the M23 rebel insurgency. This last significant military reshuffle took place in October of 2022 when Tshisekedi appointed Shiwewe as the Chief of Staff as part of broader defense reforms that his office said were aimed at boosting efficiency. Fighting has flared recently in eastern North Kivu province in violation of a ceasefire agreement, with hopes of an immediate deal with neighboring Rwanda to curb the M23 conflict have dimmed. Congo and the United Nations accuse Rwanda of backing M23 with its own troops and weapons. Rwanda denies this. Mozambique's death toll from Cyclone Chido has risen to 94, news agency said on Sunday, citing the country's disaster management agency. The cyclone had made landfall in northern Mozambique a week ago, and Mozambique's Institute for Natural Disaster on Thursday had given the death toll at 73. The Indian Ocean archipelago Mayotte bore the brunt of the storm. Officials in Mayotte, which is one of France's poorest overseas territories, have only been able to confirm 35 fatalities from Chido, but some have said they fear thousands could have been killed. Olamide Harrison, the International Monetary Fund's Mozambique resident representative, said on Wednesday that the country's 2024 economic growth is likely to be revised down from a previous forecast of 4.3% due to the impact of the cyclone and post-election civil unrest. In October, Daniel Chapo, the candidate of Mozambique's ruling party, Frelimo, was declared winner of the presidential election. President-elect Donald Trump threatened to reassert U.S. control over the Panama Canal, accusing Panama of charging excessive rates to use the Central American Passage, which allows ships to cross between the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean. In a Saturday evening post on Truth Social, Trump also warned that he would not let the canal fall into the wrong hands, and he seemed to warn of potential Chinese influence on the passage, writing that the canal should not be managed by China. China does not control or administer the canal. However, a subsidiary of Hong Kong-based CK Hutchison Holding manages 2 ports located on the Caribbean and Pacific entrances to the canal, respectively. The post was an exceedingly rare example of a U.S. leader saying he would push a sovereign country to hand over territory. It also underlines an expected shift in U.S. diplomacy under Trump, who has not historically shield away from threatening allies and using bellicose rhetoric when dealing with counterparts. The United States largely built the canal and administrated territory surrounding the passage, but the United States and Panama signed a pair of accords in 1977 that paved the way for the canal's return to full Panamanian control. The United States handed over control of the canal in 1999 after a period of joint administration. The waterway, which allows up to 14,000 ships to cross per year, accounts for 2.5% of global seaborne trade and is critical to U.S. imports of autos and commercial goods by container from Asia, and for U.S. exports of it would have no recourse under international law if it decided to make a play for the passage. U.S. military said it mistakenly shot down one of its own fighter aircraft over the Red Sea early on Sunday, forcing both pilots to eject. Both were rescued, one with minor injuries after the apparent case of friendly fire, which is being investigated, U.S. Central Command said in a statement. The fighter was an FA-18 Hornet flying off the aircraft carrier Harry S. Truman. One of the carrier's escort ships, the missile cruiser Gettysburg, mistakenly fired on and hit the plane, the statement had said. The Red Sea has been a hotbed of military activity for more than a year as U.S. forces battle Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi militia, which has carried out attacks against shipping in the region. The U.S. military said it had fired on Houthi drones and missiles over the Red Sea on Saturday and had attacked command and control and missile shortages sites in Sana'a. U.S. Congress early on Saturday passed a measure to boost Social Security retirement payments to some retirees who draw public pensions, such as former police and firefighters, which critics warn will further weaken the program's finances. The Senate, in a 76-20 bipartisan vote shortly after midnight, approved the Social Security Fairness Act, which would repeal 2 decades-old provisions that can reduce benefits for people who also receive a pension. The House of Representatives last month approved the bill in a 3-7-75 vote, which means that Senate approval sent it to Democratic President Joe Biden to sign into law. The White House did not immediately respond to a question about whether Biden intended to do so. The bill will overturn a decades-old change to the program that had been made to limit federal benefits to some higher-earning workers with pensions. Over time, a growing number of municipal employees, such as firefighters and postal workers, also saw their payments capped. Some federal budget experts warned the change would hurt the program's already shaky finances, as the bill's price tag is approximately $196 billion over the next decade, according to an analysis by the non-partisan Congressional Budget Office. Emerson Spirik, Associate Director of the Economic Policy at the Bipartisan Policy Center, said in an interview, the fact that there is such overwhelming support in Congress for exactly the opposite of what policy researchers agree on is pretty frustrating. Now, police arrested the man they said set a woman on fire while she appeared to be asleep on the New York subway train on Sunday morning, killing her. The woman, who has not been identified, sat motionlessly aboard a stationary F train at the Coney Island Stillwell Avenue subway station in Brooklyn at about 7:30 a.m. when an unknown man calmly approached her and used a lighter to set her clothes on fire. The New York Police Department said. Police said there was no interaction before the attack and they did not believe the two people knew each other. The man got off the car as police officers on patrol in the station rushed to the blaze. What they saw was a person standing inside the train car fully engulfed in flames, New York Police Commissioner Jessica Tischer said at a press conference. Cell phone video published on social media by a horrified onlooker showed a man sat on a bench on the platform a few steps away from the burning woman, dressed in a gray hoodie that resembled that worn by the suspect arrested later on Sunday. Police said they were still investigating the victim's identity and the reason for the attack. About 4 million trips are taken each weekday on the city's subway, where violent crime is relatively rare. As of November, there had been 9 homicides reported on the subway in 2024, compared to 5 in the same period in 2023, according to police data. Earlier this month, a jury acquitted Daniel Penny of criminally neglect homicide and the death of Jordan Neely, a homeless former Michael Jackson impersonator, on the city's subway. Neely had been shouting angrily at passengers on a subway train when Penny grabbed him from behind and restrained him in a chokehold for several minutes. Plane with 10 people aboard crashed into shops in the center of tourist city of Gramado in southern Brazil on Sunday, civil defense officials said, and initial reports indicated that there were no survivors. Unfortunately, initial reports indicate that the aircraft's occupants did not survive, Governor Eduardo Leite said in a post on social media platform X. According to the public security